Alright, we are back with Lantern Control. We're going to open a beautiful hand here on the play in the blind. We got our full combo plus hand disruption. One thing I like to really focus on with the opening hand is creating a plan. So with this hand, we're just going to go turn 1 Lantern, have perfect information, turn 2 Thoughtseize and Shredder, and turn 3 Bridge. And this is likely enough to beat a lot of decks. As we'll see here, this isn't totally the case. I'll just mention this is a match played in tournament practice. Looking to do a league this weekend that I'll be posting, but just sticking with tournament practice for now as I sort out all the recording software. So you see Mycosynth Gardens, meaning they're probably some version of Amulet. Golos means they'll be the timeless Amulet version. We're gonna run out our Shredder, and we're going to cast our Thoughtseize. And when we look, kind of the important card here is Boseiju. They also don't have an Amulet, so our game plan at this point is going to revolve around keeping them off Amulet. So I think here Grazer is better if they already have an Amulet, but Lotus is better without an Amulet. So because they don't have an Amulet, we're going to take the Lotus, as Grazer's only going to give them 1 extra mana and Lotus can bring them up 5. Additionally, with Golos on top, the Lotus is very good with that. Unfortunately, we are going to have to find an answer to this Boseiju at some point. We're going to mill the Golos and they have another one, but as previously mentioned, their hand is kind of slow, so they're just going to kind of develop their mana here. And you might notice we don't run out Bridge, though my reasoning for this is that if we run out Bridge, it's just going to get blown up by Boseiju, and we have more ways of finding answers, Pithing Needle or something, or an Urza Saga to get Pithing Needle than we do replacing Bridge. So we're not gonna run it out while they have Boseiju in hand. We see an Amulet on top, and we're gonna obviously mill it here, just into another land, which is good for us. Unfortunately here, we cast an Escape to the Wilds, which hits Saga plus Amulet, which is pretty unfortunate. So we're definitely in trouble as they got another Escape, and they still have Boseiju. So we basically have to draw some answer to Boseiju here. We're going to play Saga, but it's not too likely to matter right now. If we shuffle once, they can still Boseiju our other Lantern then, and we have no control. So they kind of just go off here, if I recall correctly, where we're not. I don't believe we get another turn. They're just going to keep casting things, getting more mana. You'll notice they're up to 3 amulets, and I don't think this game, just them opening on Boseiju and us never finding a Pithing Needle or a Welding Jar or anything like that, means that it's pretty hard for us to win this. If like one of these Lanterns had been Pithing Needle, we could Needle Boseiju and play Bridge, and most of these lists only have 1 Emrakul as their win con. We'll kind of go through it here so you can kind of see what they're doing. None of it really, they're just going to draw a lot of cards. Eventually they're going to hit an Emrakul, and we can't survive the Annihilator 6 trigger at all. So yeah, we're kind of pretty done. Unfortunate that they opened on Boseiju. I think if they didn't have it in their opener, we definitely could have had a better chance. But we saw the Emrakul. It's coming soon, so they're just gonna go through all these triggers, and then when they cast Emrakul, we concede here. There's nothing we could really do here. I think we played it fine. Just kind of unfortunate what the matchup was and what they started with in their hand. I didn't really think we had any big play mistakes in this one. Yeah, if you see anything in this game, let me know what you think, but we'll get to game 2 and sideboarding right away. So as we get into game 2 here, we're just going to go over sideboarding quickly in terms of what we're bringing in. We're bringing in a welding jar, pithing needle, soulless jailer. It shuts down their escape to the wilds, so I like having it, and one haywire mite, and then we're cutting Underworld Cookbook. You could cut Nihil Spellbomb, but I like to leave it just as a clean answer to Emrakul hopefully when it gets milled at some point, and then just cutting Inquisitions, as a lot of their stuff is higher CMC. As we get into this first game, we open up a pretty nice hand here. We have Needle and Jailer, which are two good hate cards. We can also Surgical if anything important gets milled, and then hopefully Stirrings can find something. So as we get started here, we're going to Needle Beseiju right away, just making sure they can't use it. They lead on Gardens with no Amulet, which is pretty good for us. Kind of the turn 1 Amulet is one of their scary starts. And we draw Pending, which is really nice. This means we should be able to answer their first Pending. Yeah, so we're going to run out the Jailer here and see what they do. So they play another Gardens and cast a Stirring, finding Golos, which is very good for us, as it means they do not currently have an Amulet in hand. So we should be able to make at least one construct here, and then pending the first Amulet, and hope that we can get there just with beats. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to draw Inquisition, but we're going to make a construct at the end of their turn. They cast another Stirrings here, and they do manage to find an Amulet. So they're going to cast it, and end of turn we're going to make a construct here. Just try to start applying the pressure. Now as we draw here, we actually draw another Saga, which is huge. It means we're able to not make a construct this turn, but still have a lot of pressure. So we're just going to float mana and then go grab a Haywire Mite. With this second Saga, if we are able to just keep them off Amulet for 1 or 2 more turns, we should be able to kill them, as our constructs will get big quickly. Yeah, so Urza's Saga, we're going to play it here, and then we're just going to Inquisition and Pending. We're going to cast our Inquisition, and we see all expensive stuff that they can't really get too quickly. This is pretty good for us. We're just gonna exile their Amulet, and we have the answer for the next Amulet, which is pretty nice. So we're just gonna pass through here. They're gonna keep developing their mana. Golos is kind of their next play based on what they had in hand. So when we draw Shredder, we're not gonna run it out. Just gonna keep making constructs. Here they get to 5 mana, so they're able to play a Golos. Can't really find anything too bad for us. It's just kind of ramping into bigger things. They will be able to play an Escape to the Wilds next turn, but Jailer kind of shuts them down from playing any of the very important stuff they might exile with it. Yeah, so like I said, we're just gonna make another construct here and start attacking them. We draw land, which is nice. It allows us to play Stirrings or Shredder this turn. You could get Lantern with Saga here and then play Shredder. This game, I think it's not about the Lantern lock. We're just going to be beating down with constructs. So actually grab Welding Jar here, which I think is more important. And then we run out the Codex Shredder over the Ancient Stirrings. So I often like to hold Stirrings kind of until I have the most information possible. So either way, I can still play either of them kind of next turn, but Stirrings, nothing I can hit with Stirrings I can play this turn, so I'm good to just run out Codex Shredder. Then when we activate Codex Shredder, we actually hit an Amulet. So this game is over. We'll get in with Haywire Mite. They're kind of forced to block a construct, so might as well. Important getting all those points of damage. And then we're just going to Surgical the Amulet in their draw step, which will get us to look a chance to look at their deck. I think they actually make a slight mistake here when we surgical. They should concede in response to surgical. So in response here, they should concede, just kind of protect what they have in their list. If we take a look, we do see that Emrakul is kind of their only win con really, and then we have to worry about Force of Vigor and Boseiju. So this will come up next game, but we kind of finish this one out quickly, and they concede as they're not able to do anything. So let's get into game 3. For game 3, we're not going to make any changes. Kind of stick with our same sideboard plan for game 2. We open up a bit of a risky hand here, but seeing Bridge and Needle, I think I want to keep it, as they're kind of two of our key cards. If we remember from game 2 when we looked at their deck, Needle and Boseiju and Bridge just need an answer to Force of Vigor. They open on what looks like it's going to be a pretty fast Amulet here. We do run out the Haywire Might that we drew. We kind of really need a second land here in order to do much of anything. We do manage to find the land and then run out Boseiju. I'm not sure if Codex Shredder is correct here. I don't think it's worth it to use Haywire Might on any of these, as they already have enough amulets. I think we could maybe save the Might for Timeless Lotus, which you'll see comes up in a minute here, but I think it didn't have a huge impact on how the game ended. So they start making mana, and then they got a lot of triggers to get through. One thing to notice here is clock. If this was kind of a league setting, definitely something you could play more. I'm not going to focus on it much in tournament practice. I'll focus on my own, so I know I'm good, but I'm not going to try to use the opponent's clock. It's not worth my time when there's nothing on the line. So then they cast a Lotus here, so this would kind of be one opportunity to exile it. I don't know what else they had in hand, and we never actually got the third land, so they make a lot of mana. So it wouldn't have made a huge deal. Likely they have some other payoffs in hand. Escape to the Beanstalk. They do it. Escape to the Wilds. They do it next turn anyway. So I think there could be an argument for holding the Haywire Might. It wouldn't have made much of a difference in this scenario. They're just gonna keep doing their thing. They finally get Golos down, and then they're just gonna start spinning Golos. And yeah, this is just a turn 3 win on the play. Can't get Bridge down. Not too much. Maybe if Spire was a like Booming Marsh, we could have Inquisitioned, but they're still getting the Amulet they got off Saga and then copying it with Gardens. So there's kind of a matchup where they can just have their turn 3 wins. So not a ton we could have done. Haywire Might maybe would have prolonged it a turn, but the card we would have drawn wasn't a land. It doesn't remember it now, but at the time I drew it and it wasn't a land. So let me know what you think of, if you're still watching, of this style of video, kind of where I go over a match instead of talking it through as I play it. Kind of lets me focus on the game a bit more. And like I said previously, planning on doing a league this weekend, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed watching, maybe learned something about this matchup. Have seen it a bit more over the last week or two, so definitely, not the wildest thing that you could see while playing a league. So hopefully this teaches you how to deal with it a bit. Another game in the books with Lantern.